Estates Radio with your hosts CoCo and Gregory, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Hello everyone, welcome again to another Glam Estates radio show.
Woo,
Together
woo.
with me, of course, I have CoCo Shelburne.
Hello.
And she will be my guest for today.
Oh, nice.
And I guess I have no choice, I will be her guest.
Gregory Papuzian is here.
Woohoo!
Special guest. Excellent. I'm sorry. Special guest star.
Guest star, actually. So,
That's
hello
right.
everyone, thanks for tuning in.
Whoop, whoop.
We're very happy to be here.
Are we going to glam it up today, baby?
Oh, we always glam it up. Why do you ask me? That's the question. We always glam it up.
Whoop, whoop. Okay.
So, we had our coffee this week as well.
No coffee?
So we feel
Yeah, I
good.
don't care. A lot of coffee.
Our joy juice.
That's right. I taught you that phrase today, I think.
Yes, joy juice.
That's my joy juice. Coffee.
So, you want to call in 818-570-5085. We are here for 50 more minutes. We can accept
Oh,
your
yeah.
calls.
And the first caller to call in gets what?
What are you going to give today?
2 cups of coffee,
2 cups.
a cheeseburger, and a message in a bottle.
Oh, calls are coming in already.
That's what we love about this show. We love our audience. You guys write us the funniest things. Those emails are hysterical.
All right, yeah.
What you guys don't get told about on these shows is, well, kind of a lot.
Our audience is awesome. I love our audience.
We do.
Okay, and today, very interesting topic.
I'm all loosened up now.
We're going to talk about all those brave people that think they can sell their home themselves.
They can.
And it's the FSBO.
The FSBO.
The FSBO race.
They are brave. I would call them the 300.
The bravest, right? Well, they're not only 300. I wish they would, you know.
Yeah, well, for their own sake. I mean,
They're for
not
their
to,
own sake.
We're kidding completely.
But unfortunately, there were way more people that they feel brave, and they don't want to list with an agent.
They're for sale by owners. We call them FSBOs.
That's the initials from the words, yeah. For sale by owner.
Yes, we love them. And we're all kidding aside, guys, when we say that, Gregory's kidding that, being a FSBO, that's not funny that you're brave, because that's the truth. You got to be really brave. I love the entrepreneurial perspective of a for sale by owner, because dagnabbit, they are strong-willed people, and I love that. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
One of the greatest things that I adore about for sale by owners is that they're willing to put themselves out there. At least that's what it feels like in the beginning.
That's right. They think they can do it.
And they can. I mean, legally, you totally can be a for sale by owner. That's not against the law. There are a lot of cons. The pros are that majority of the time, Gregory, what's the main reason that you've come across that for sale by owners are doing this for themselves?
Save the commission. That's the very first reason that somebody decides to put their home in the market themselves. Save the commission. And we are gonna drop all these myths today.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a myth.
And then we're going to talk about the pros and cons of each one of these items. Listen, totally, for sale by owner can completely save on commission to a degree. And it's not like it can't be done. For sale by owners, we're really doing much better in the marketplace when the market was a buyer's market.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a little easier in some ways.
Right.
However, lots of things have changed. And that's the number one reason. Number one reason is saving on commission, and we can talk about that.
There is theoretically why people tend to be, for sale by owners, because theoretically they think they can save on commission.
How do you say theoretically in Greek?
Theoretica.
What? You guys are cheating.
You're cheating. You took the word and changed it.
Well, English is a crazy language anyway. I don't know how you guys do it. There, and
That's
there.
why it's
What?
easy. Right. No, that's why
Two and two. What?
That's why it's kind of easy for us to learn English, because like 20% of English is Greek words. So
And if you're in the medical
Greek or
community,
Latin,
it's going to be about 80%,
yeah,
right?
that's right.
So for commissions is the number one.
So theoretically, let me say the reasons why somebody would decide to take on, and their home and put it in the market themselves.
Can I just interrupt you for a moment?
Sure.
Oh, good, because I am anyway.
Yeah. Wow. First time you ever interrupt me, has never happened to me before.
It's bizarre. Remember the days when it was Penn and Teller?
Right.
It doesn't happen anymore. We used to go on the listings, and Gregory was the analytical type, and he was always there with the punchline, and I was the one talking. I was obviously Penn, and he was Teller, and I was talking, setting up the entire situation, and he would land the joke.
Yes.
Gregory, did you agree with that?
Yes.
Dramatic pause. He does it, ladies
Anyway.
and gentlemen. So the reason why we're talking about this one is we talked about this week. What Gregory is so humble about. Okay, so this guy's never going to talk or promote himself in things. So I am here as his special guest tonight to share with you how he is really out for the clients. And the reason why this subject came up, and he's been a little funny about it in the beginning, is for sale by owners, is because he literally respects for sale by owners above and beyond, probably even people just in general. He gets and understands the strength and the will behind or for sale by owners. So forgive our brevity and our jokes in the beginning. But the truth of the matter is, unbelievable strength to be willing to put yourself in that position. And we're going to go over why. So
yeah, honestly, like if I wasn't in the business, if I wasn't an agent, because I have some entrepreneurial spirit, even though I would be doing something different, and I would for sure entertain the thought of putting my home on the market on my own and see what happens, because that's me. But now that I'm on the business, and I know the reasons why I shouldn't do that, I'm gonna share this with you, and I'm gonna let everybody know why, because it's a serious matter.
Sure, I think that's part of the reason why
it can cause a lot of problems, and you can make way less money.
Oof.
That's the two most important reasons. Let alone marketing, let alone handling phone calls, let alone
the people on the door and the whole nonsense. Yeah,
let alone that. But the two main reasons are that for sure getting less money, for sure the sale takes more time, and the liability.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
So, and these are the I was gonna say before you interrupt me. Now
Watch out, it may happen again.
So I'm gonna say the reasons why for sale by owners are becoming for sale by owners. What are they thinking? Well, what they're thinking is that they can save money on commissions, they can sell their home quickly. They want to keep the sale process in their control, and they want to. Basically, that's it. Yeah, these three reasons.
Absolutely.
And that they can do their marketing, and they don't need to pay anyone because they got it all. They know this person, that
Sure.
person's going to help them and market it, and take some pictures with the grandmother in the middle of the picture and stuff like that, and this is okay. And they're gonna put it on Zillow. It's free. I'm gonna put my email, my contact information. The buyer is gonna call me, and it's gonna be done. Why do I even need those agents?
Listen, great points. And a lot of times, what I've come across in the years that I've been in the business, having the same feeling of being an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
What I've come across is most of the time for sale by owners have also had some interactions with agents. And for some weird reason, okay, I'm being completely sarcastic, they've had a terrible experience. Unfortunately, in our industry, the going feeling in general about agents is that they're seen at the same level, and no disrespect to those other sales reps of used car salesmen, they're considered the same category and are not looked upon well or respected.
Right.
So they've had terrible experiences. They feel like they've had poor representation, and it's very possible. At the middle of the crash, we're in millions of agents in this country. Millions. Okay, we're less, I believe, than 700,000 at this point in the whole country. We've lost a lot of them, and with likely good reason. No offense to them, but it wasn't being taken as professionally as it likely should have been. And a lot of people were doing it part-time. They didn't realize the cost, and they didn't realize what they were doing. And in all fairness to those agents who were out there and have done the best that they can, listen, as an agent, it is not easy to get a good education in this industry. Mm-hmm. You have to go through and earn your stripes every single step of the way. And most people are not willing to share information about how to get transactions completed or how to be good at what people need.
Nobody's going to help you. Nobody's going to teach you unless you pay them well in this industry. It's like.
And most people don't plan enough knowing that that's going to be a cost they have to encompass during the process. So unfortunately, that happens a lot. So I would add to your group is that for sale by owners have been hurt or feel that there's not a need for an agent.
For sure. I mean, it's a profession. In every profession, there is pros, and there is people that are not so good on the what they're doing in every profession. But the same thing happens in real estate as well. Might have a lawyer, that is not so good or so aggressive or so strong, it happens.
It happens. So people have, and again, we go back to being brave. Absolutely. Why not think that you can do this? So let's talk about some of those things. So we know that they're brave and smart and interested in getting a great value on their home. Mm-hmm. And we get that. So what statistically, you brought that up just a moment ago, was that the truth is 99% of the time, people selling their homes get a price based on something that has nothing to do with the true numbers of the market. So lots of reasons why. They could get that off of a website. They have a number in their head, or they have decided for what reason they've invested things into their home that's suddenly the price that the home is valued at.
Right.
And that's not actually how a price is determined. So what will happen is a home will go on the market at a particular price. Generally, it's the wrong number, mm-hmm. either way too high or way too low, not really consistent with what the market is. And if it's too low, people still come in. I'm telling you, I see it left and right all the time. And I speak to these incredible people that the agent that is trying to come in with the buyer will still lowball them on a price.
Last week, actually, we came across someone who was for sale by owner, was selling his home himself. He had put in the market at least $250,000 less than the price he should be getting, and he already have a couple of offers that was less than the price he put in the market.
Correct, and that we see is because they're not necessarily kept up to date with what's happening in the market. And in this particular case, they had previously been represented by an agent, in my humble opinion, didn't seem to do a very aggressive job of marketing that property.
And they were hurt, and they were like, he didn't do anything. I can for sure do something. So if I do something, it's more than nothing. So
and why should I pay somebody to do that?
Therefore, exactly.
And they're likely correct. What my analysis of that particular situation was, listen, the agent blew it. They didn't market it aggressively. There's no reason in this day and age, in this market, where this property is located and what it was for an investment, that it shouldn't have sold.
Exactly.
None. Unless there was a nuclear waste truck out in the driveway all day long parked there that said, don't buy this property. Even still, people would still make you an offer. So it seemed that was a very low priced, and they were trying to sell it themselves. And in addition to that, Gregory, wasn't this the same one that was also in the MLS.
Oh, right. That was it was put somehow on the MLS as a for sale by
Oh,
order,
yeah.
but he put it on the MLS somehow and
That was the one they
burned
used.
the spot, burned 2 spots actually.
Yeah, burned 2 spots. Not only had they paid, what they did is they paid a service to put it on the MLS.
Yeah.
These services charge you $500, whatever they charge you. Anyway, they're
Just to put it
charging
on
you
the
anyway,
MLS, yeah.
just to put it on the MLS. Now, the MLS,
No, they don't offer representation. Just
right, just to place it on there. Well, okay, that's good and bad. Okay, the good part is it's in the system. The bad part is it was in the system twice with 2 different prices that made no sense. And they paid twice. Plus, it was the wrong price. So here's the bad part. Let's say you've now decided, okay, this isn't working. Let's just say that you're them. This isn't working, and we'll go through all the reasons why it could and it can work. It can totally work. And also the things to know that that can be a complication. When it doesn't work and you want to go back on the MLS with an agent who's going to actually advertise it and market aggressively, now they go back to put it in the system, and it's like you said, they burn their spot because it's already in the system, and it won't show. If you try to put it on with a new price that's accurate, that new price is going to look funny to a buyer. They're going to be like, I don't understand. Why'd they change their price? What are these guys crazy?
It doesn't show up like they just put it on the market. It shows up that it was on the market and the price was raised, and so people who see that, they're like, why would they raise the price all of a sudden? Well, but they don't know that it was for sale by owner before and it was wrong.
Exactly. To an agent, they will understand that. An educated agent in the area will understand how you've gotten to that number, and that won't be a problem for the right buyer. But with the information available as much as it is, it's uneducated information. And in this case, it wouldn't help. Excuse me. I want to cough on everyone. So in this case, it's to the detriment to have had it on the MLS in that case. And hey, let's face it, we talked about commissions. Most of the time, you're paying a commission to the buyer's agent anyway when they come. You're like, oh, I'll work with a buyer's agent.
Yeah, everybody says, oh, I work with a buyer's agent, so there it goes, 2.5%.
At least. Sometimes it's 3. Plus, you're going to not have any representation of yourself. And
why would you do the paperwork on your own and having to face an agent who is more skilled than you on negotiating and on writing contracts and on, making the transaction.
And their job is to get the buyer best representation.
Exactly.
Not you.
So you're going to be negotiating with somebody who knows, who does this for a living.
Without information that you need.
And you don't have the information, and you maybe don't, maybe you won't be able to give back, documents on time, or you don't know what this means, the other thing, that. We talked on another previous show, we talked about the offer and the contracts and how many pages it is, and, we broke down the process and all that. Like,
it's
all
16 pages from the buyer.
All these to do it by your own, and at the end having to face the liability.
Oof.
We
don't want to get to the liability yet. But yeah.
That's why we take licenses from the state, and we have to renew and we have to stay on top of it. And at the same time, every single day, we keep learning and learning and learning on our own. Things are changing all the time. The contracts are changing again in a couple of months. So
much to know all the time. And those self-help centers, absolutely, they will give you some sets of papers that can help you sell your property. That's accurate. However, most buyers coming in are not going to feel comfortable buying from somebody who's not willing to have representation for themselves.
You look weak already.
Oh, you look weak. And not because you are, but because that's the way it's perceived. And buyer's agent is going to come in. That's their job, is to give the buyer the best deal. Of course, they're going to tell you whatever they want to tell you.
They work for the client, so
they want
their client to have their best deal.
And they're going to tell you, oh, I can do it. I'll do it for 3%. I'll do it for 4%, whatever. But they're not representing you during the process. Right. And the reality is, if you're already listed at low and you're getting less and no representation, did you really save on the commission in the end.
And more likely you have it a long time on the market and you're fed up and you're like, I want it out of the way.
Oh,
I
yeah,
want
we
to move
already
on
got
in
to
my
that.
life. Just, I want it out of my life.
You
just
want that
sell it,
emotion
whatever.
anyway.
I'll make 50K less. I don't mind. Because at the end, that's what you do.
Absolutely.
You give up.
Yeah, and part of that, you've got buyers coming in. They don't listen. They're in for a deal, and if you don't know what's supposed to be on the market, plus there's disclosures. Gosh forbid, holy smokes! You go through the process, you get what you think you need, all set up. Not to mention the time and energy and money you've already spent to get those things together, to do your research, to put that all on the line and figure it out, and then go, okay, great, we're opening escrow, I have an agreement. That likely, I'm telling you, this is a fact across the country. You will get far less as a for sale by owner than you would with representation. Even with not so hot representation.
Exactly.
Okay? It's just, that's how it turns out. Just a part of what we're educated to do.
Bottom line is this: you wouldn't perform your own surgery, you wouldn't fix your own car, you wouldn't.
You would fix my own car. I'm gonna fix my car.
Yeah, I mean, if there is a screw loose.
Yeah.
But, you don't even change the oils yourself, which is something simple. But I'm saying, so why would you sell your own home, your biggest investment, your own money? Why would you play with that? Why would you sell it yourself? Why would you make less?
Even if you knew how to do it.
for 2.5%. I mean.
Yeah. Some of the other things you have to understand too is that during this process, let's take a scenario. Good old scenario. Where is scenario? Let's bring him back into the room. Anyway, scenario, we've got this scenario where a client you're having a transaction, you're selling your property. What is this, your prime residence? You need to be advised about what's available to you, what you need to know, what's next, and know that you're being taken through a process well. And you don't want to be guessing and don't worry, we'll give you the disclosures. Okay, disclosures, what if you don't fill them out right? No one is going to tell you to do them correctly. No one is going to advise you yourself on how to do it so you're out of liability.
And they're happy if you don't.
Absolutely, because if they close that deal and you did it wrong, guess who's going to win anything in a lawsuit? In California, where everybody is so happy. Everybody's suing everybody for nothing, for little things. I stubbed my toe in my own house. I'm going to sue my homeowner's insurance. But okay. Listen, ridiculous things happen. That's why these documents are so big. We want to keep you out of the liability loop. And the truth of the matter is, a buyer, as soon as they're done with the transaction, all they have to do is file a suit against you. And since you represented yourself, guess who's on the hook no matter what? The judge is going, anyone through the process, and the fact that you have to be even brought through that process is horrible. And that's going to waste even more money, more time. And likely you're going to settle just to get them off your case anyway. Oh, you didn't tell us that in 1842 there was this, soil issue in LA. Well,
Exactly.
yeah. So things come up, and as ridiculous as it sounds, it happens all the time. Buyers don't mean anything by it. Most of the time, they come in and they go, okay, no problem. This should be fine. That's great. But they want the deal.
So let's break down those myths one by one.
Let's do it.
Like, save money on commission. Why for sale by owners do not actually save money?
They don't save money because, number one, you're likely going to pay a buyer's agent at least 2.5%. That's the minimum any agent should be doing this for. Likely it's going to be 3%. Well, 3%, if you're going to sell your home anyway, for another 2%, you get yourself represented and you don't have to do anything. Like, for example, advertising, marketing your home. Okay, I'll put it on Craigslist. No, nobody cares.
Right.
Okay, most things on Craigslist are seen as nonsense. You can do it for sale by owner. Okay, most people don't go there and aren't looking. Okay, you can put it on the other bigger websites. Okay, but then you have to start taking the phone calls. Most of the time for sale by owners are unavailable by phone or email. Most of the time because you're working. You have a job. You have things that you're doing all the time. Part of the reason you hire someone is so that you are out of the loop.
Exactly.
And you are not having to field phone calls. Listen, We get people interested in buying homes at crazy hours. They will call you. I've had calls at 2:00 in the morning come through my system.
Oh my God, I'm seeing this home on Zillow right now. Can you tell me, when can I see it? When can I see it? I love it. It's my dream home. Listen, it's 2 a.m. Get off my phone.
It's happened. So what will initially happen is for sale by owners, they have great intentions, great energy, very excited, fully feel informed. They'll start taking phone calls. Guess who's normally calling a for sale by owner? Guess who's the first phone calls you're getting?
Brokers.
Those agents.
Right.
They're calling all the time. Oh, why did you decide to sell?
Because that's what we do. Like, it's
That is
one
one-
source of us to get business, because statistically the numbers are saying that 90% of the people who are trying to sell their home themselves initially, they end up giving the listing to an agent. And we know that. And, there's a lot of people who are going after for sale by owners, because at the end, the seller is going to get it and going to give it to somebody who really can do it, because they can handle the phone calls, they can, proceed the transaction, this, that, the other thing.
Right. And they usually are bombarded with agents for the first week or two. And by then, you get calls day, night, emails, contacts, crazy conversations that happen. You don't know who to trust. And these poor people are literally overwhelmed with calls. And then when a real buyer calls,
You're already fed up and you're like, I don't even know if you want to buy my home, this, that, and you're
I'm
like
not working
discouraged
with an
and-
agent.
Yeah.
And likely that first phone call, that first representation of your home is the best one everyone will ever have about your home. That first call is your first impression. You want to sound happy and chipper and excited. And a great agent is going to be overwhelmingly happy to discuss
Exactly.
your home and the great attributes of that home, because they care about you and you getting the best deal. That's why.
The other reason that for sale by owners can save money in commission, the reason that it is a myth, another one reason is that they don't create competition. They don't have the ability to create competition, because they cannot put it on the MLS, which is the least. But
Or even if they do,
even if they do, it doesn't
that's
mean
not
that
enough.
That's not enough. Also, at least we do as Glam Estates,
Who
we
is it again?
we advertise in luxury magazines. We advertise in the New York
New York Times, Jet Set Magazine.
Wall Street
We
Journal.
have a global exposure, and the average agent
We
is barely
advertise in
doing
Asia.
that.
We advertise in Europe.
Barely doing the local.
So we bring competition and we bring multiple offers always. And the way we market and the way we do our open houses, everything we do is very effective, because we don't put our name in something that is not going to sell in a month or two, or less. So, we want happy clients and we want to put our names.
Yes.
We don't like having something on the MLS that's there for 6 months or a year. So we advise and we educate our clients well. They know what we're doing. We let them know what we're doing and how we're going to market it, and it's very effective. I mean, we can't go wrong with that. And it's a formula that we have and we use, and we bring results all the time. We keep our promises.
Aw, that's so nice.
I mean, that's what happens.
It's so sweet. But for sale by owners traditionally are on the market for 6 months, a year, even in a hot market, because like I said, the beginning is one thing, but then they get worn down. Listen, it's understandable. That's what happened. That's why we lost so many agents too. Let's be real. It's not an easy job once you get started and rolling into it. And taking the phone calls, the emails, the questions that are monotonous. And, you can have people standing in your home and there's security involved too. Oh my gosh. You have people coming. You got to run your own open house. That means you've got to be there during that time. Or what if you're not going to do an open house? That's even worse.
And you know what's also bad on that? That buyers don't feel comfortable when the seller is there. They feel uncomfortable. They don't spend time on the house, because they're like, oh, I don't want to open his drawer. I don't want to open his
Can I open
closet.
the closet? Right.
Yeah, they feel uncomfortable and they don't feel well. If you don't feel well, you're not going to buy the home.
And it will likely not occur to a for sale by owner
Yeah.
to look at the home from the perspective of a buyer. It's really tough to have a third-party perspective on your home, let alone ourselves. we feel comfortable, we do our thing our way. Sometimes we don't even realize that most of the time, and I see, gosh, I even see some agents do this. Please, please, please don't let your agent let you run your own open house, even if you have that, okay? Please. If I can name every single time I've gone to a for sale by owner, the home is stuffy, there's no lights on, and it's dark. They don't want to open things up. They're like, oh, well, with an offer, I'll show you the closet. Come on.
Right.
Come on, guys. And it's tough. And you really, for yourself, it's not because someone wants to argue with you as a for sale by owner. But the reality is they're trying to build competition for you to get multiple offers.
That's the most important part. You want people start bidding at your house.
Oof.
And you're not going to be able to achieve that by, by inviting your neighbors to come take a look at your house, and you think you have a successful open house because all your neighbors came and admired your home, or they talked bad about your home.
That's even worse, yeah.
That's not a successful open house. Successful open house is, people come from all over the place, the real people, the real buyers that are being waiting for your home because you have marketed right and the price is right and everything. And also to have like international exposure. Have a video of your home, send it to China, to Chinese buyers who want to come invest or relocate here. That's a successful marketing and open house and competitive, bring competition.
You got to get an agent who's really on top of things. The reality of the situation is all this money and advertising you would have to put forward. That's part of what the commissions pay for.
Exactly.
And you're paying for it anyway. By the time you add in the cost, let's say you want flyers. Okay, who's going to create flyers? Are you going to get them off the website and create them yourselves? I mean, you can, but that's going to be a couple of hours at least. Then you got to pay for it to get printed. Then you got to pick it up. Then you have to have enough available. You have to have your phone number on there all the time. Now, here's a complication you can think about. So now you have this property. Let's say you get an offer. You have chosen to pay the buyer's agent a commission, but not for yourself. And they're still negotiating back and forth. What happens in week 2? You're into the deal and they're negotiated a price with you, which is going to be for sure lower than though you listed it for. Okay, for sure. Now they've got you sort of under a barrel. You're thinking you're moving. You're asking the agent, what's next? They're not there to help you. They're there to help the buyer. Mm-hmm. They're getting paid either way. So their thinking is, whatever. You might get an agent here and there, maybe, who'll be a little bit nicer to you. But that's likely not going to happen. Let's just don't guarantee that's going to take place. So now let's say if a buyer's agent wanted to be really savvy, they come in and they say, okay, great. Now we need to do a home inspection. Mm-hmm. Home inspection is going to be needing 100 of these. We need, this needs a new light. We need a light bulb. We need a new gas filter. We need a new there's a new roof that needs to go on. The way that it's represented can look like there is a requirement for a seller to do things. And some things will be. But if you're not advised well, how will you know this?
Exactly.
How will you know? And then the seller is in this position. We've seen it happen. And the buyer's agent suddenly says, oh, yeah, my client needs a $10,000 credit in order to close. Oh, my gosh, because there's so many repairs to do. Now you've lost money again.
Yeah, because what are you going to do? Are you going to back out for $10,000? You're about to close the deal and you're going to back out for $10,000, which you could have paid in commission, and you would be represented and you wouldn't have these problems because their agent would go back and be like, listen, I have 3 other buyers waiting. I have 3 other offers as a backup right now because I have created the competition that I was talking about before. So we don't give you 10,000. So you want to close. You don't, I have another buyer in line.
And how do you know when your rights are? You have to know when your disclosure contingency periods are coming up. Meaning you need to be able to advise yourself and know when you can say to the buyer's agent, hey, time's up. You guys, you need to remove your contingency, and they'll go back to the offer
But listen,
process.
though, if they look at our previous shows, then they would know how to do that.
It's so strange. We were just at that same moment together.
So in other words, if you still feel brave to be a for sale by owner, at least watch our previous shows.
Yeah, get educated about it, totally, and you can do it. So knowing that, so you could be in this predicament and not know what your rights are. My goodness, please, please, please know what your rights are. And they're not easy to always keep. And then let's say the buyer's agent, you can't get a hold of them. How do you enforce your rights? Good question. And what happens, this will happen too. I've seen this happen before, guys. Okay, I've seen this happen before. And I have seen happen, not on the transaction I was doing, I have seen this happen though. This is something we talked about at the board meetings when we were on the leadership council. There was a seller who was for sale by owner, and an agent had gone in as a buyer's agent with a cash buyer on a property. The for sale by owner had really no clue what the real value of the home was. So the cash buyer came in and said, okay, great, no problem. I'll buy it at your price as long as I get an appraisal first. And whatever the appraisal is, I will buy it at whatever the appraisal says. They're like, that sounds fair, absolutely. But the seller didn't know that there are different kinds of appraisals. And the appraisal that they had done was a land value only appraisal. Awful. It literally got completely ripped off. Completely. Horrible. I believe that agent was reprimanded, but it took a long time to get a hold of them and get that squared away. And but the seller never knew.
So the seller sold his property only for land value?
Right.
Wow.
Terrible. And they did, and the agent on the other side did that with a straight face. Now, how are you going to know that? I was happy to be part of the pursuit of that agent. That was fun. But that's only the ones we know about. Now, listen, most people are not going to get involved. Is that law enforcement background in me, huh? I turn into a cop when it's these things. Oh, we're going to get them. We're going to get them.
But what can you do after that? I mean,
it's only
the
a hope.
contracts are signed. The seller agreed.
Exactly. So there's lots of ways that it can turn ugly during the process. So it's important to know that. And plus, there's another few things to know. Some people are under the belief that, there's understanding like, hey, I'm selling my house and, I'm going to hit capital gains tax if I don't sell it for this price or I do sell it for this price.
Right.
There's lots of rules to know, and knowing it versus hearing it on the internet. As we know, remember that commercial that was out that said, everything on the internet is always true?
No, I haven't seen
Okay,
it.
there was a commercial. It was a great commercial because everything that's said on the internet is true.
It's exactly the opposite.
Anyway, I mean, that's not to say that there aren't true elements to it. And listen, not trying to discourage people or to put anybody down. It's quite the opposite. I actually hate to see people lose money, and especially on their biggest property they're likely going to own is their primary residence. That's your primary residence is everything.
The biggest purchase.
Yeah. So be careful, knowing that what you're paying for and what you're not paying for, what you believe that you're not paying for, is advertising or marketing. All these things, that literally that same property we were talking about, the for sale by owner. My goodness gracious, all the different things that they had done themselves that took away from their job, their regular day-to-day life, right? And you're going to have people knocking on the door in the middle of the night. Hey man, will you do like a lease with an option to buy if I buy it for like $50? You're going to have crazy people who mean well. They have crazy offers though. And what usually happens is the seller gets exacerbated.
Right.
And is like, give me a break. I can't stand this process. I'm irritated. I need a break.
They also think, CoCo, that they can sell their home faster.
Yeah.
Than an agent would. Like,
well,
"Don't
depending
worry,
on
I
the
got
agent. Depending on the agent
Well-
they previously had experience with, that could be the case. If it's priced wrong, and what we say is it's only worth as much as the market is willing to bear. That's the only thing. If someone's willing to come in and pay extra, your house better have like a circus going on in the background.
Right.
Whatever's happening is something really particularly quite different to pay, a hugely different price. But it's good to know. Not to mention, what I was going to ask you about too is what have you seen happen when there's an open house and a buyer comes in and the agent shows up? What do we see happen? We have seen that happen when we're doing previewing of homes, or we're doing this, and even if it's for sale by owner, or the owner is present.
Mm-hmm.
If an owner is present during an open house at all, it's really a negative.
It is, yeah.
Not just for the buyer, but for the seller. And the reason is, frequently, like all the time, this is the buyer's one opportunity to get in with you. They're like, great, okay, yeah, let's start negotiating.
Negotiating, you know.
We're going to bring down the price. What if I do this? What if I do that? What if you don't know what your rights are?
What if you don't know how to respond? You know,
A strong front. You need a strong front. You need someone out there who's standing in front and saying, listen, submit your offer in writing and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
You need that. And not to be available is the best way to protect yourself. And you can't do that if you're for sale by owner.
You don't talk price with anyone unless they submit an offer. Like, anybody can come in and say this and that and the other thing, but you have to have it in writing in order to start negotiating. What are you negotiating on thin air? I mean,
absolutely.
If you don't have it in writing, what's the point?
And how do you know what the forms are done correctly? And you're having someone check the forms. If they're not getting commission, honest to goodness, what's the liability to them if they have it wrong? Yep, that looks good. Sounds good to me. Okay. But usually in a negotiation, it becomes emotion, because someone may legitimately say, listen, the roof has a hole in it, you know. But as a seller, you may be offended in the way it's done. People don't mean to, or maybe they do mean to. They get you emotional. They get you into an emotional state so that you'll agree to whatever they're in the need for.
Exactly.
So all in all, it's a tough spot to be in. So
It is.
I'm telling you.
And price, you need somebody who knows how to assess, you know, previous sales in the neighborhood, and see, and has the ability to know if your home is better or worse than the other homes, and evaluate it. You can't just come up with a price because the home down the street that you saw, it was sold last month and you saw it in the open house. You think that it's that was worse than yours, and so you should raise the price just because of that, or the opposite. We don't come up with prices just because of that.
No. So get some real input with somebody. Work with someone who's going to give you solid information. We always make sure we walk through the steps. And if you are thinking of doing for sale by owner, drop us an email at glam@glamestates.com, and we will give you a synopsis of the pros and cons as well, and also some alternatives.
Exactly.
So at least you have some options before you decide to do that. Oh, and one other thing I was going to mention is that sometimes we'll come across for sale by owners who will say, hey, you know, I'm not paying anybody. I don't work with any agents whatsoever. Guarantee you, for sure, they're going to lose money. And
90% of them, they finally work with an agent because they see they can handle
or
it.
they don't sell.
Or
It
they
goes
don't
to
sell again.
something happens and it's become difficult. Listen, at least get to know a couple of agents you feel good with. Call us. We'll be happy to at least give you some input on what to do. What's the number for you, Gregory?
562
Yeah.
537 2595.
I like that. That's a good number.
And yours?
323
Uh-huh.
425.
Uh-huh. 9484.
Thanks.
Right?
Oh, you rock.
I got it.
What a great guest star you've been. I mean, I've been. I mean, you've been when I've been. What? No, for sale by owners, I love the braveness, but I highly advise you to not do your own brain surgery. Listen, you're an expert at what you do in your world, and it's not that you're not capable of doing it. It has nothing to do with capability. It has to do with the liability in the end. And what's the cost for not having the great representation?
You know, also people think, you know, oh, they make too much money, they do this, but they don't think that in order for us to be successful and to be in the business and to continue, you know, being there, we have expenses, not only our own expenses in order to be, you know, active agents, but we also, in order to sell more homes, we invest more in the homes that we take for listings. Like, we take a list, we spend our own money before the home sells.
Absolutely. I mean, there's no guarantee that it's going to sell, but we put our
Depending on
investment
the
into it.
house, we spend from $3,000 to $10,000 or sometimes more, creating videos, marketing materials, uploading in different sites that we have membership,
That's right.
China, here, there, magazines, newspapers.
Russia.
All this is,
France.
exactly, Europe, all this is,
Bonjour, France.
all this is money that we front, before we get paid. And
that's because we believe in what you're doing. We believe in it enough to support you, and we want you to be successful. Of course, that's the whole idea, is to bring you the best return.
And of course, that's why we are successful and we keep afloat and we are ahead of our competition, because we do all this. But it costs us. It costs everybody, and it's not that we make $20,000 and we, put them on our pocket and.
No. And even if you were to see that number, that's just. Most people don't realize that number is the general number that goes to a brokerage firm. The split to an agent is very low generally.
We split
very
with
low,
a broker.
and they're not going to pay for any of the marketing.
We split with a broker. We pay our
and
taxes.
That's the general thing: taxes, insurance.
In order to not to be in jail and be out here doing business. And we also pay upfront for advertising.
Yes, and there's lots of places, and a good agent is going to have. A great agent is going to have expenses up front that they consistently pay into so that your home gets the best exposure and creates what? Competition.
Competition is very important.
You want competition. You want competition. You want people to be multiple offers. Over the list price. Hey, that's what you're looking for. So you can go on to your next step. So
exactly.
Go and enjoy your vacation. Leave your listing and the keys with your agent and get on with going. That's what we do. Hey, Hey, we got the keys. Great. We're on. Go on vacation. We got it covered. We'll see you.
And have a mindset that you are moving. Forget about the home. You're moving.
Yeah, it's time for you to get to your next step, and you don't need to be exhausted or exacerbated through it in order to get there. So
you don't need to waste your lunch breaks, talking to buyers or brokers or whoever is calling you, We do that
Hey,
for
man, does this house have walls? Yep, it does.
All right.
Well, guys, if you have any questions, please visit us at glamestates.com. Share this with your friends. If you know anyone who's thinking of buying or selling, please show us as a resource. That's what we're here for. This is not meant to be a secret. This is absolutely free information, and everyone should be able to call us.
This show is here to educate and give advice to people, so
because
we're
why?
happy to do it.
Because we're going to
glam it up, baby.
Woo!
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
You're listening to Glam Estates Radio with your hosts, CoCo and Gregory, right here on LA Talk Radio.